My team and I have been using VEO3 ads for a while now, and the results have been absolutely insane. So I want to show you exactly how I create them, what my thought process is, what's worked, what's not worked, and exactly what we've been able to do recently with our VEO3 ads. So the first thing I want to let you know is that VEO3 works really well for hooks. It doesn't really work well when you make the entire video with it, because I prefer personally having some human element to my ads, and that's what I've seen always get a better conversion rate over the long run. As you know, as of right now, I've been trying out a lot of VEO3 hooks. So the first 3 to 5 seconds where I just need to grab the user's attention, I use a lot of VEO3 hooks. So here's an example of what I would do in terms of a VEO3 hook, especially combined with a voiceover. So I would need to have a voiceover along with this exact footage, and this works especially well for a health product, or especially well for something that you need a demonstration for, and something that you just really need to get the user's attention for. What doesn't work well for anything home decor or anything clothing, or something like that, I've not seen it work well for. But if it's a health product, if it's a supplement, if it's something along those lines, you can really show the effects of your product in VEO3, and that works really, really well. So the first thing you want to be doing is you come on here, and what you do is you just simply add your entire prompt. Now, you want to be as descriptive as humanly possible with your prompt, and you want to give VEO an entire synopsis in terms of exactly what your product is, what you want. So you want an animation, you want, give your entire details of your entire product right here, and you literally just want to go ahead and be as specific as humanly possible with this entire prompt. And the more specific you are, the better it will get at it. So check this out here. It's an example I just pulled up for you. Right, so just something along these lines as a hook, and especially if it's a 9/16, that works really well. I would say when you have an entire voiceover that goes along with it, and this is just the starting point, this gets us an insanely good hook rate. This has been crushing it for us recently. So try this as much as possible, and I'm going to go ahead and show you some more examples of this as well. If you want to demonstrate the problem that you are highlighting in your ad, you want to be making it something like this. You want to make it something hyper realistic. Something along these lines would work really well. Right, and if you can actually showcase this, sound effect as well in your ad, this would crush it. This has been doing really well for us recently. Another thing you can do is you can actually demonstrate exactly what your result of the product is through VEO3. So if your product helps with hair growth, you can actually be something as specific as hair follicles growing really slowly and slow motion. Another thing you can use this for is actually showcasing the results of your product. So this way you can actually showcase, okay, here's what my product. Another thing you can do is you can actually showcase the results of your product through VEO3. So if your product helps with hair growth, you can actually have a prompt something along these lines which says hair follicles growing really slowly, etc., etc. So you can actually use these things in the middle of your video. It doesn't always have to be used for a hook. Here's an example of a hook I just created using VEO3. Check this out.
Laser sharp focus. Watch what happens to your brain cells.
So a couple things. One, you can combine this with another video. You can combine 2 videos that you generate from VEO3 together and actually make a hook. 2, I would not recommend using this voice. It's just too robotic in my opinion. I would recommend actually doing the voice over yourself. And 3rd, try to be as specific as possible with your prompt. The prompt is what generates the output. The output is the most important part, but the prompt is even more important. And that's what you want to be focusing on, right? So with your prompt, just be as specific as humanly possible. So in this case, I have mentioned exactly what I want to happen in the video, and it's generated me something very, very similar. I usually go for 2 outputs or 3 outputs at the bare minimum, so it can give me different variations from what I would like. And this is one prompt that I just went ahead and created. Here's another one that I have gone ahead and made here. Check this out.
Arthritis pain? Here's what relief looks like inside your joints.
So that's a great hook. And if you combine that with a fast-paced video, it just converts really, really well. I have seen extremely good results with these type of hooks recently. And if you add some text on top of it, And if you just combine that with different videos of actual humans using your product with social proof, that would just go ahead and crush it. Now, going over everything step by step for you and just stitching everything up together for you. First, try to make sure you understand how VEO3 works the best. VEO3 works the best with hooks, the first 3 to 5 seconds. That's where there's a pattern interrupt in your ads. Next, you want to be making sure that you avoid making the entire video in VEO3. If you can use some elements, that's okay. I would not recommend making the entire video in VEO3, at least as of right now. Besides that, it works really well for me in health, supplements, skincare, any type of gadget where you have to actually demonstrate the product. It works really well. So here's how to actually use VEO3 properly. First, use it for hooks. Use it for the first 3 to 5 seconds in your ad. Don't use it for the entire video overall. Use it for health, supplements, skincare, or any type of market like that. That's worked really well for me particularly. And where it's not worked well has been fashion, home decor, and products like that. You also want to be making sure you focus on your prompt as much as possible. So your result is completely dependent on your prompt. So you want to be as hyper specific as humanly possible with your prompt. Don't just have something on the lines of show hair growth. Instead, you have to have a prompt something on the lines of ultra realistic close up of a human scalp with tiny hair follicles slowly sprouting new hair strands, shot in a cinematic slow motion, hyper detailed in 9:16 format. Right, so just tell it that, it'll make it for you, and you edit that up with your original video that you actually had as well. If you have an existing winning ad, you can also add a hook from VEO3 and make that ad perform even better just because of the hook overall. Secondly, you want to make sure you actually structure your prompt this way. Here's exactly how I structure my prompt. The product outcome, transformation, visual style, so what you wanted to actually show, how you want to show it, whether it's realistic, cinematic, slow motion, microscopic, or animated. I prefer doing animated in my personal opinion. That is what works the best for me, especially with hooks. Format should always be 9:16. Lighting, you can be specific with that as well. And you can also be specific with camera work. That's how insane VEO3 can get sometimes. And then here's an example of some prompts that I wrote out for you. So here's a good prompt, for example. You can just take a look at this. And I've written out one in the skincare market, one in the sleep market, one in the joint pain relief market, which I just showed you, and I also made a brain booster one for you as well, which you can actually just go ahead and take inspiration off of too. And we also have one for hair growth here. The most important thing is to actually have a lot of variations that you can actually go ahead and test, right? So VEO3 will actually give you multiple variations which you can go ahead and test out. Next, you want to be having, a mixture of a rhythm and a metaphor. Show a brain with sparks and a stopwatch counting down to show fast results, right? So that's what I would recommend doing. And also, don't just rely on visuals. You have to have your text overlay, and you also want to have some sort of a human element attached to it. So don't just rely on visuals alone. You have to have an animation combined with a text overlay, or even audio from 11 Labs, or you can actually record the voiceover yourself as well. Write your script, generate a bunch of animations for your hooks. You can also do a quick human voiceover, and then you put it in CapCut and you actually make it directly from there, or you can have your editor go ahead and do it for you. I would recommend trying it yourself first, that you get a hook of it, and then you go ahead. Next part is actually putting it together. Write your script, generate a bunch of variations, don't just rely on one variation. Next, you want to make sure you have a human voiceover. You want to have a bunch of captions, a bunch of music, and you put that all together in CapCut. And again, here is an example of how we actually do it as well. And you just go ahead and put it all together from CapCut. If you want my team and I to help you implement each and every one of these things I explained in this video today, just go ahead and book in a call below with me. My calendar will be below, and let's talk.